I asked an AI agent to invent a sport for people who hate exercise. That sounds like asking a dentist to invent candy. Because if the sport works too well, it becomes exercise. And if it avoids exercise too well, it becomes sitting down with a scoreboard. So the job was not, make a funny fake sport. The job was meaner. Invent something a person might actually start playing before they notice their body has been tricked into doing work. I gave the agent a standard, rules, scoring, equipment, safety constraints, a 5-minute play test, and a blunt verdict. No inspirational fitness language. No burpees hiding inside a costume. No pretending that people who hate exercise are just waiting for the correct motivational poster. The first idea was exactly the trap. It called the sport Anti-Gym Dodgeball, which is a good title and a bad sport. The joke is obvious. What if the best move is avoiding exercise? But that becomes the whole game. People stand around, refuse effort, and the video has one laugh before the artifact is dead. That was the first useful failure. The funniest version was also the weakest version. So the agent tried again. Version 1 became couch curling. That sounds closer. You sit down, slide a puck, maybe aim at zones on the floor. It is low barrier. It is playable in normal clothes. It does not ask anyone to become a different person before round 1. But it had a quieter problem. It was too honest about being lazy. If the whole sport happens from the chair, the movement disappears. And if the movement only happens when you walk over to collect the puck, then the most important part of the design feels like cleanup. That is a brutal place for the test to land. The exercise could not feel like exercise. But it also could not feel like admin. So the final version became Drift Errands. It is a living room delivery sport. You tape a tiny court on the floor. Home is a chair and a launch line. There are 3 destination zones, near, middle, and far. Near is easy and worth 1 point. Middle is worth 2. Far is small, annoying, and worth 4. You get soft pucks, beanbags, or rolled socks. You draw 3 errand cards. Each card combines a destination with a small movement constraint. Near, normal walk. Near, non-dominant hand. Middle, sidestep to retrieve. Middle, low reach before launch. Far, pause breathe before launch. Far, chair start. And that is where the design starts to become less stupid than the title. You begin seated. You stand up. You pick the errand you hate least. You slide the puck. If it lands in the right destination, it scores and stays there. If it misses, you walk over, retrieve it, and bring it back to the reset dock. That retrieval is not dead time anymore. It is worth a recovery point. The miss becomes part of the sport. That is the small design trick. The agent did not make exercise fun by adding points to exercise. It made movement useful by making every tiny action do a job. Standing is not a squat. It is how the round starts. Walking is not cardio. It is how you recover a mistake. Reaching is not mobility work. It is how you complete the errand. Pausing is not mindfulness branding. It is how you stop the game from turning into frantic sock golf. The rules are aggressively modest. Walking pace only. No sprinting. No jumping. No burpees. No punishment exercise. If a player gets winded beyond conversation pace, the timer pauses for 20 seconds. Players can declare a personal no-go movement before the match. And if both players hate the tiebreaker, the tie stands. That might be my favorite rule, because it understands the target audience better than most fitness products do. The sport is not trying to defeat reluctance with discipline. It is trying to lower the cost of starting. But this is also where I had to judge it. Because a sport for people who hate exercise has two possible scams. Scam 1, it is secretly just a workout. Scam 2, it is secretly just not exercise. Drift Errands dodges the first scam pretty well. Nothing in the rulebook sounds like a gym teacher trying to sneak into your living room. The movement is small, optional, adjustable, and tied to visible decisions. But the second scam is still close. This is not going to build serious conditioning. Nobody is replacing football with a sock delivery court. At best, it is a movement snack. 5 minutes of sit, stand, walk, bend, reach, reset, laugh at a bad launch, and maybe ask for one more round. And that is why the playtest matters. The agent did not claim the sport was finished. It gave me a 5-minute test card. First minute, tape the court. Show home, near, middle, far, the spill strip, and the reset dock. Then do one deliberately bad launch so the retrieval loop appears immediately. That is important. If the video only shows perfect shots, the sport is lying. Minute 1, player A starts seated, draws 3 cards, and plays for 60 seconds. Minute 2, player B does the same. The shot list is specific: capture 1 miss, 1 retrieval, and 1 successful delivery. Minute 3, tighten the rules live. If it is too easy, shrink far. If it is too annoying, widen middle. If it is too sweaty, cap retrievals at walking pace and add a pause token. That is the part that makes it feel like a real attempt instead of a poster. The sport expects to be wrong on the floor. It has a mechanism for being adjusted. Then the final question is not, did everyone become fit? The final question is much smaller and much more honest. Did it feel like a game before it felt like exercise? Would anyone play one more round? Which rule would make you quit? That is the verdict standard. And my verdict is, useful, but modest. Drift Errands is not a great sport. It is not intense enough, dramatic enough, or clean enough to pretend otherwise. But it is a real answer to the prompt. It understands that people who hate exercise usually do not need a louder version of exercise. They need a lower friction reason to move. The best moment in the whole design is not the far zone being worth for points. It is the miss. Because in most sports, a miss is just failure. Here, the miss makes you walk. And the walk still counts. That is the quiet mechanism. The agent did not invent a sport that makes exercise disappear. It invented a sport where the annoying parts are small enough to survive and useful enough to repeat. So can AI invent a sport for people who hate exercise? Yes. But the sport is not impressive because it is extreme. It is impressive because it knows exactly how unimpressive it is allowed to be. The first version was funnier. The final version was better. And that is usually the difference between a gimmick and a game.